I originally was in the modeling industry, and it's like a completely corrupt industry.
If you're looking for business mentorship, I have a place where you can get feedback on your unique personal development and business growth challenges. Over the last year, I've brought together a group of impact-driven thought leaders where we meet every single day to discuss psychology, communication, mindset, and business case studies. We have people who have made millions of dollars, lost millions of dollars, Harvard MBAs, and new entrepreneurs like you and I. Entrepreneurship can be lonely, so if you're looking for a support system, please follow the link in the description below for some more information.
There was just a lot of information that I learned like about myself that kind of like switched the path that I was going on. I was just like hustle, hustle, hustle every day. Like there was never a moment where I would stop and think like, okay, what do I actually want to do? Right? Like I'm doing all these random little jobs. Well, what about like future wise? What do you actually want to do? So it kind of shifted for me what I was doing versus what I'm doing now, where I started the nonprofit to help like other young and single moms like myself, because I was like, okay, I'm doing all these things for other people. Well, it's time to like do something. Although it's like a little bit for myself, it's more so because my purpose in life is like just to help other people, whether that's like women who are going through something similar to what I'm going through, or just like people in general, by building a platform on social media to be able to like share inspiration and encouragement with. But it truly transformed me, and it's like almost unexplainable the way that it transformed me, because it was just like a shift in mindset. So I don't know like what exactly happened, but I just know that I came out of it and hit the ground with like a completely different spirit, and I was like on fire for what I was doing versus the like before the trip I was like, "Oh my God, like I have to get up today, like I have to do something today." So it was, I mean, literally transformative.
So what's the nonprofit that you're doing?
It's called Fear to Faith. So it's for young and single mothers. It's starting right now with like peer support. So obviously me, because I'm the only one in it. And then I've already gotten a couple of donations and investors to start just giving supplies. So essential supplies for the new moms and the babies, because a lot of places like nonprofits or just aid support, whatever, from the government, like they help pre-baby. They'll help pregnant mothers, and they'll help like with family planning or whatever it is, but then there's no support once they actually have their kids. And that was like what I experienced. Was I had a nonprofit that helped me when I was pregnant. They did family classes for me and all kinds of stuff, which was like a blessing. But then it was like, okay, you're on your own once you have your kid, and it's like, oh God, like what am I gonna do? Like what is out there for me? And people who like don't have the support that I have is kind of where I come in. Like I want to be able to be the voice for them and like the support that they don't have. A lot of people like don't have their families, and then there's girls who like just have the father of their kid, and then they don't have any family around, and maybe they're in a really bad situation or like domestic violence situation or whatever it is, and they want to get out but they don't know where to go. That's kind of like where the nonprofit is going. That's the goal, is actually to build like a farm that will be an event venue to have income coming in, and the girls will be able to like come in and have a safe place to live, and there will be like childcare, community classes, just different forms of engagement and forms of work for them to like come in and build a life for themselves, to know that like, okay, there is a place out there for me, and I can go and be safe and like rebuild my life, and then eventually like go out on their own. So that's what
Wow,
the
that's awesome.
nonprofit is. Yeah.
Did you come up with this at the mastermind?
I did. I absolutely did. Yes. So I knew that I've always wanted to help other people. I mean, I originally was in the modeling industry, and it's like a completely corrupt industry. So I was going to help guide girls and make sure they don't go through what I went through in that.
Why is it corrupt?
Um, oh my gosh, because I mean, you basically are putting young females in a room with old men who are wanting to take advantage of their vulnerability. And it doesn't matter what situation you're in, like, unless you're like a powerhouse of a person who already knows going into it, like, hey, I'm probably gonna be put in a position of vulnerability, and someone might want to try to take advantage of me, and I can handle that. Most girls don't go into that with that mindset because they don't know. Like they're 15, 16, even younger than that, and they're going into it and they're like,
Oh,
they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. And it's a bunch of like grooming and people who are trying to build these girls into, like, this weird image of what they think, and they just take advantage of them. So it's kind of crazy. So that was the original goal, was to, like, just to help models with building. I have a TikTok that I've built by, doing encouragement for younger girls and, like, helping them, like, with some modeling tips and stuff like that. And I mean, there's agencies in Charleston that are, like, taking girls' money to just take pictures of them, and then they're not getting anything from that. Like, it's a giant scam, honestly. But going into the mastermind, from everything that we talked about in the mastermind, I was like, "Okay, I know I wanna help people. How do I help people?" And the idea of, helping young single mothers because of my story has always been something that's on my mind, but I just didn't know how to do it or what to do. And my number one problem was, okay, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, like, I can't do it. I was holding myself back. So what the mastermind did for me was, like, make me realize it doesn't matter what's holding you back, like, you just have to take that first initial step and, like, step out in faith and just trust that, God's got you, and whatever you're supposed to do, he's gonna help guide you through the process. So from the nonprofit, or from the mastermind, I realized, like, okay, I need to take this next step in what I feel called to do, and that was the nonprofit. And I started it, and I realized, like, everything that I've been through throughout the past 2, 3 years has all led me to this moment. Like, everybody that I've ever met, and since moving to Charleston in April of last year, um, everybody that I've met has led me to making the nonprofit, and I started working on it, and I got everything done, and I was like, "Wow, okay, this is, like, somehow all working out." Like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but at the same time, like, it's somehow all working out. So it's been really cool to see how to start the process, and, like, I truly think, like, the mastermind helped me get to this point.
Where did you move from?
I was originally living in a tiny little town called Timmonsville.
Is that in
So
South
just
Carolina?
yeah, it's just, like, 2 hours away from here.
Why'd you come to
So
Charleston? Just more opportunities here?
well, I actually moved to Charleston to run a political campaign.
No way.
So,
For
yeah.
who?
James Steeple, he was running for State House District 116, and we got him elected. So
Hell yeah,
he's in the state
awesome.
house. I had no political background, didn't go to school for it. Like, I went to school for visual communication, so I did a lot of the graphic design work, but I was managing, like, day-to-day activities. I did a fun little spy mission in the campaign. So
A spy
I
mission.
did, yeah, a spy mission.
You spied on the other side?
I did spy on the other
What was
side,
that
yeah.
like?
Very interesting, honestly, because 'cause I'm not a person of deception, so, like, going in and literally, like, had glasses on, put hair extensions in, like, it was a whole spy mission, and went and sat in, and I was filming, like, recording him talking on my phone, and
Oh
it
my
was
god.
kind of crazy because we were really just, like, trying to see what his answers were, like, see what substance he had, which he really didn't have a whole lot. But then there was one point where we were talking after the, like, initial, what was it? I don't know. It was, just a a forum. So he was doing, like, a forum, answering questions or whatever, and we were talking afterwards, and he was like, "Oh, well, that pretty face could get me 100 votes. You should come and work for me and join us on some ads." And I was like, "Oh."
Got
A
it.
married man, and he's, like, saying this stuff, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." So, like, took it to my boss after, and I was like, "You have to listen to this, like, this is crazy." He's like, "Oh my god, we have to use it, we have to use it." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Just because I went in there and, like, did this spy mission for you does not mean I want to be in this in any way. Like, I don't wanna be a part of it." Because I was like, "Y'all don't need to be digging out the skeletons in my closet, and that's what they'll do if they hear this recording or whatever." So, it was kind of crazy, but it was a lot of fun. It's honestly like a giant game of chess, but
Yeah.
in the real world, so it's kind of a crazy industry.
Yeah, what did you learn about politics? Like, how is it different in the back end and compared to, like, the forward-facing politics that everyone else sees?
Honestly, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that nobody knows about,
Like
and
what?
well, I mean, it's just like I said, you're playing a giant game of chess. So behind the scenes, there's pieces that are moving that you wouldn't tell other people about. I mean, there's a lot of um I'm like, I don't know what I can say and can't say. I feel like there's a lot of scandal that goes on behind the scenes, and, like, it's a dirty industry. Like, people are using other people to get, I mean, I guess this is life in general, but people are using other people to get what they want. But there's a whole game right now with the governor's race where there's, like, back end stuff, and it's like, "Oh, who's gonna support who?" And it's like, I don't know. I don't know what I can say. So I'm like, it's just like I said, it's a giant game of chess and everybody's kind of using people as pawns. So
Yeah.
it's just a pretty dirty it's just a pretty dirty place where I don't know, you see things like there's a huge argument about like Trump's bill right now, the big beautiful bill or whatever. And
Mhm.
people don't realize like the media makes it something that it's not. And they kind of like form to different sides to get people to be dramatic. Honestly, like it's a big scheme of drama, and I mean, that's TV for you. It's like the news is reality TV instead of sharing something that they actually should and, like, giving people the information instead of trying to coerce them to either side, so it's just crazy.
It usually just comes down to money too, like, I've
Absolutely.
been in several political meetings and I've never heard anyone talk about, like, how can we solve the problems of the world?
Oh my gosh, exactly, yes, so I'm literally even in the state house, it's so crazy because I'm, like, working for these people and seeing all of the bills that they're all passing bills to help businessmen, like, they're all passing bills to help themselves. That's a part of the nonprofit that I'm working on, and, like, thank God I have the connections that I do in the government, but it's like all of these bills, and they just passed the abortion ban in South Carolina, and it's like, "Okay, pass the abortion ban, but then what are you gonna do for those women?" So my goal is to, like, get in there because the foster care system is corrupt, the adoption system is freaking corrupt, like, all of it is just corrupt, so I want to use the nonprofit as a platform to get in and, like, be able to actually pass bills and laws to help the women who are keeping the babies because, I mean, it's a beautiful thing, like, life is a beautiful thing, but at the same time, like, okay, they still need help and guidance, and instead of using your money to help yourself, use your money to help other people, but that's literally what it all boils down to is who has the most money.
Yeah, and it's like, I started an environmental company after college and I care like a lot about the environment, but I had to realize like quickly if you're just like you know, going for this environmental justice and you're a warrior, like you don't have influence with the people that make the decisions who have a fiscal motivation in mind. So you kind of have to play both sides and like understand that there are business interests involved, but then also like that like environmental interest. But if you just try to push that environmental interest down their throat, then you don't really have much impact. But if you
Right.
can kind of balance the two sides, then you have more influence and can get more of your mission accomplished.
Right. No,
But it's
exactly.
but it's cool that you're taking that or understanding that political route, and I mean that is going to be the power of the nonprofit is the political influence that you have, and if you can start lobbying interests together and getting influence within policy, that's
Right.
pretty powerful.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely, and that's kind of why I got into politics in the first place was only because the man that I was working for was a good man with strong morals and values, like, his daughter had a brain tumor when she was, like, 2 years old, MUSC misdiagnosed her, they thought she was gonna die in 12 months, and then they ended up taking her to St. Jude, and they were like, "No, we can cure this, like, we can get this out." So
Well,
now he's bringing a St. Jude affiliate clinic to Charleston, and he's actively working on it, and that's been, like, the number one thing that he's been working on. So I think that's why I was somehow connected to him and was able to work for him, and because it's, like, literally who I can use to help the nonprofit in the political world because it's somebody who's in it for actually helping others instead of his own political agenda, so I think that's really cool that that was
yeah,
how things aligned because I never would have worked in the political world if it was anybody else, so, we're in communication right now about the nonprofit and, like, him potentially helping out and being an investor, so I think it'll be a really powerful tool to use for the nonprofit because you're right, like, if you don't have the ability to actually get in and make a difference and, like, be able to talk to the people who can actually change the laws and make a difference, then you're just in it to make a community difference, which is fantastic, but at the same time, it's like if you wanna go to a broader scale, then you have to get in and use your connections and network, and thankfully, I've built that, and I'm able to, like, kind of get in and see what happens.
what did you learn from that experience being in politics that you take into your your life today that you still utilize? Like what skill set did you learn?
Well, I think the number one thing that I learned from politics to today, honestly, is just, like, the way it's helping me with the nonprofit is literally raising money, honestly, because it's, like, how much of a difference that makes in what you're capable of doing, because I can only do so much with, like, a social media reach or a platform that I'm building, but, like, the money is actually where I'm able to, like, get in and help people, whether that's providing them with, like, financial help in their rent or bills that they have to pay or, like, purchasing supplies for them because, like, my voice can't do that, my platform can't do that. It can reach people to donate to them, but the the political side of things definitely helped me realize, like, okay, this is how you have to build the business and work to be able to actually provide for people and, like, help people. And I also think it helped me out a lot with, like, social skills, honestly, because I was a very anxious person and, like, could not talk. Like, I couldn't just go up to somebody and have a conversation with them. I was very nervous. And the political thing, it almost made me step into a character and be like, okay, I just have to, like, go out and fundraise. I had to go knock doors. We knocked over 6,000 doors on the campaign trail. And I had to, like, have conversations with these people that I never would have I never would have done that in a past life. So the politics definitely geared me up to literally everything that I'm doing right now. Honestly, that was, like, the biggest one of the biggest transformational pieces of who I am and how I operate. So, yeah.
I see a lot of people trying to raise money and not doing it very successfully. What do you think is the keys to successfully raising money?
Successfully raising money is honestly taking advantage of your network, the people that are in your life that have been there from day one or who will support you, and using them and building out from that is very important. People are trying to raise money by, like, talking to random people, and that's not really gonna do a whole lot because they don't know you. They don't know your mission. Like, they're just like, "Oh, somebody's asking me for money," right? So, the number one thing that we did in the political world was reach out to, 1, all of the contacts in the phone of who we were trying to raise money for, and then we reached out to anybody who had donated previously to the guy who was in his seat before. So, the raising money piece is, like, people were just trying to, like, post ads on social media, and they're trying to call just random people to get money or whatever it is that they're doing, and they're not actually realizing, like, hey, people give money to the purpose and the mission, not necessarily, like, they don't necessarily just give it to random things or random people. It's all about the connection that you feel with somebody, and that's how you actually make the money.
How do you articulate that purpose and mission effectively? Is it on the phones? Are you doing presentations? Or if you had to give someone who wants to raise money, like, this is your starter pack, this is what you need.
Your starter pack for raising money.
Yeah.
It's honestly about, first of all, building your personal brand. It's about showcasing who you are. Yeah, because they're gonna if you it's like, say I'm building a business for something. Well, nobody's gonna support the business if I just all of a sudden start a business. It's like, okay, tell the story of who you are, your why. Like, oh, I'm building this business for XYZ purpose. Well, then people are like, wow, okay, I, support this person instead of the business. So I think that, you know, the starter pack is truly just building who you are in a way that people can see vulnerability and a connection, a way to connect with you instead of just the fact that, like, oh, you're trying to get money or you're trying to build a business or whatever it is. So building yourself.
So what does that look like in actuality? Like, if you're building your brand, how do you be intentional about your brand? What's the methodology that you're using to define a character that has an influence over a specific audience?
Well, I think to start honestly, it's doing it for one yourself instead of a performance. I think that's huge because a lot of people will go do something just to take a picture of it. And a really big thing is honestly helping people before it's a show. Um, so kind of like, let's see, I don't know. I'd say the number one best example other outside of, actually just helping people to help people and not to just show it off to other people is obviously you have to start with social media because that's where everybody sees your brand. It's where everybody sees you, and being authentic instead of performing. That's the number one thing that I've realized in my life is my social media is very curated. It's very polished and perfect. And, like, people looking at it would be like, oh, like, this girl's starting a nonprofit for single moms. Like, what's her backstory? Like, is she really helping people, or is she doing this for looks, right? Because I have, like, the model page Instagram because that was what I was originally working on. So I realized, like, okay, I need to post videos about, my struggles, my trials, my tribulations, what I've actually dealt with, and how I've used that to like transform myself and actually use it for good. And because, your circumstances don't define you. And that's kind of what I've tried to show with my personal brand. So I've posted videos about my story, who I am, and being a single mother at 23. Well, had him at 20, but now 23. So I think showcasing authenticity on social media is something that people struggle with because they try to create a curated image, and it just doesn't work because people can't connect with something that's not actual and authentic and true.
Why do you think people, because this has definitely been a shift, that the more authentic brands are having more influence as opposed to the more polished brands? I mean, we saw it in the last race, like, Donald Trump wins. He's very unpolished, as opposed to someone who's, as opposed to these career politicians that have been branded, their messaging, their PRs, everything is so dialed in, and people resonated with that authenticity. So this is a more recent thing where those authentic personal brands are having more traction and more influence. Why do you think that is?
Because people can actually connect in a day and age where social media is, falsified. Everything is just curated. When you actually find something that's organic and authentic, you can truly connect to it as people, because as people, we want to feel that emotional connection. That's literally what we live for every day, is connection. And if we don't build that authentically, then we can't connect. So I think that people who have like a polished image aren't really getting the people's support behind them, is because it's like, okay, is that real? Like, are we looking at something that's like AI generated or whatever? Or are we looking at an actual person that we can connect with? Because people just want to connect.
And I think we've been exposed through our lifetimes to so many ads and so much so much stuff being pushed down our throat that we've developed this like intuition for inauthenticity. And so you could be scrolling through Instagram, for example, and that's kind of a mindless activity, right?
Hmm.
Your brain almost shuts off. You're just going through reels, but you probably can tell almost instantly within the first like half second of a video whether or not it's going to be an ad or not,
Yep.
because we've developed this intuition for that inauthenticity. And so the people that are having the real success, that are able to cut through and have an influence with a person, is the person that, it's like, trust is the most valuable commodity right now, because there's been so much distrust in the market. And I think the people that understand that and are branding themselves to achieve trust are the ones that are having the biggest impact with their brands.
Absolutely. Yeah, trust is the number one thing that we as all people want and need, right? Like if somebody is lying to your face or trying to sell you something, you're automatically like, it's a turn off. It's like, nope, absolutely not. Like I don't want anything to do with that. You don't want to be around people who lie.
Right.
So, yeah.
You had said before that before the mastermind, you weren't really sure what you wanted to do. You had all these ideas, but you didn't have like an aligned path that you had picked yet. And I think a lot of people deal with that. They have a lot of options for a direction that they want to go in, but making that decision on a direction and building that momentum off that choice can be difficult for them. So I'm curious to understand what kind of catalyzed you to find that purpose.
Yeah.
Like, what was that process like that allowed you to, you know, find that path essentially?
Yeah. I think in my heart I've always known the underlying purpose and goal of what I wanted to do, which was literally just to help people, and I wasn't sure how to do that. So throughout the mastermind, what we did was kind of go through like a series of questions to ask yourself, like, what is your start at 10 years? What does 10 years look like for you? What does 5 years look like for you? And what does 3 years in the next year look like for you? And going backwards, you're developing like, okay, if I want to reach this goal, then these are the steps that I have to take in the next couple of years to be able to do that. So that was an important part of the process. And then I think for me, it was just at the end of the day, literally being like, okay, God, I know what you have for me, and I know what I feel in my heart is what I'm called to do, but I just need you to show me. So literally it was being in prayer and being like, okay, what is what is the thing that I'm supposed to do that will, you know, accomplish my purpose of helping other people? And I think we at the mastermind, it actually was funny because it was like supposed to be more of like a real estate mastermind. It turned into like, a very faith driven mastermind, which was beautiful. We had people who really weren't in their faith connecting more so than ever, and it was a really cool experience. But I think that truly it was like sitting in my thoughts and thinking like, okay, literally just learning how to be still and thinking about, okay, like what is it that I'm supposed to do to get to the goal, or like what is it that I'm supposed to do to be able to help other people. So it wasn't necessarily like a giant step that I took that pushed me into like, oh, I want to do the nonprofit. Like it wasn't like an aha moment. It was literally just sitting alone in stillness and quietness and just like processing the feelings. And then I think eventually it was like, okay, like I want to help other people, but my biggest fear is like not having enough money or not being able to get to the goal that I want. And it literally was just a point that it got to for me to be like, you literally just have to take the step. Like you just have to step out and whatever it is you want to do. Cause people have, I mean, I had all these different ideas. I was like, oh, I used to do spray tans. I was doing social media management. I was in a real estate production company. I'm like, okay, no, first of all, none of these things go together. So eventually I'm going to have to pick one or find a career path that's right for me instead of pursuing other people's goals. What is my goal? Like, what is my purpose driven mission in life? And so I realized, like, okay, I have to stop doing stuff for other people and start taking action for myself. So I literally just was like, okay, I have to step out. Whatever it is, like I have to step out. And I realized like, okay, the nonprofit is because of all of my thoughts kind of combined and putting everything out on paper. Like, I mean, I sat there and wrote down like 100 different jobs that I was doing or have done or like would potentially want to do. And one of those was like motivational speaking or a podcast or something like that. And then I started to connect dots with writing everything down. And I actually have like a giant piece of paper on my wall in my house right now that has like the Fear to Faith plan, and it's every step of the way of like what I'm supposed to do. So I think for me, like visualizing my dreams of my future, how I wanted to live my everyday life, like what a day in my dream life would look like, the visualization process for me made me realize like, okay, that this is what I need to do and this is what I want to do is the nonprofit and step out and just take the first step into that. But definitely like seeing it on the paper or written down was probably the number one thing that helped me.
You said a very powerful word, and I think I'm glad you said it, which is visualization. I see a lot of people, they don't define that end goal. Why is that visualization like so important, and why is it so revealing?
Yeah.
Why does that visualization reveal the path?
Well, I think that, if you don't set a goal and you can't see that goal, then you're not going to take the steps every day to get to it. Like, you're not going to know what you want to do if you don't set that goal and actually see yourself living that life. Like, I sat down and intentionally wrote what I wanted to do, what a day in my dream life would look like. And then I literally would like draw out little things so I could see it. And I think actually thinking about that made me realize, like, okay, what I need to like take action now and be able to step out into whatever it is I'm supposed to do to accomplish that dream life. Because if people, they don't, if they can't visualize what they want to do, then they're just going to be lost running around like, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I need to do this, and maybe I need to run over here and do this. It's like, no, you're literally running blindly. You don't have a vision. You don't have that idea in your head of like what your actual goal is. So actually being able to see it for me helped. And some people are different. Like some people can just write stuff down and they don't have to like visualize a picture. They don't have to see it to achieve it. But I feel like a majority of us do need to be able to visualize like a future or dream life that we want to achieve so that we can know the steps that it would take to get there and actually like want it instead of not knowing what it is.
And you'd mentioned something at the beginning of the podcast that I also thought was pretty powerful, which was that mindset shift. You said that there was that internal limitation. Well, it was really an external limitation that not having the money was preventing you from chasing or pursuing this passion. But then making that external limitation, which is, it's really not a limitation, and taking internal accountability for it was the first step to starting, to getting started. What happened in that mindset shift?
Well, I think honestly, the mastermind was what kind of like shifted that because I was so concerned financially. Like, I'm like, I can't do X, Y, and Z because I don't have the funds. Like, I don't have the money. And then talking to Jason, he was like, you don't need the money. When you do something like that, that's purpose driven, it's faith driven, the money will come. Like, because you're doing something so powerful and special, the money will come to you. You just have to do it. You literally just have to start, because if you don't start, you're preventing yourself from doing anything. Like, if I just sat there and wondered every day, like, oh, when is the money going to come for me to be able to start this? Then I never would have started it. I literally would have been holding myself back and been like, oh, I can't start this because I don't have the money. I don't know how to get the money. I still don't necessarily know how to do a lot of things, but I just know that I took that first step and started the nonprofit. And all of a sudden, through hard work, but it was like, okay, the money is coming. I'm figuring out how to get the money and how to operate on a day-to-day business. So it's kind of just like the shift of like, I realized, oh, I don't have to have everything figured out to be able to actually make a difference and start doing things.
Yeah, I've discovered through my own entrepreneurial journey, and I think that this is like the single biggest concept to understand. It's difficult to teach, but entrepreneurship, or really just pursuing anything in life, when you want to get the outcomes that you want, it has nothing to do with the external. There is no such thing as an external limitation. All of the limitations that prevent you from getting the outcomes that you want are internal. They're typically belief systems that have come from a past experience that define or create this box around your reality that set the limitations. And everyone has different thresholds. Everyone's limited by different things, and everyone can, different people can accomplish bigger things because they have less limitations. But the second that you realize that and have that awareness that there is no such thing as an external limitation, you can really start to break down barriers, because every challenge that you encounter just becomes an internal process of how can I deal with this adversity and overcome it and find a solution internally. Really, the external doesn't matter. It's just how you respond to that, external.
Right.
And,
No, absolutely.
and
Yeah.
I think that's like, when people figure that out, that's the commonality that we find with a lot of entrepreneurs on this podcast. Obviously, we've interacted with a lot of entrepreneurs. The people that are the most successful realize that they take internal accountability for everything.
Right. Yeah. Your number one thing holding you back is you. So if you can step out and just go for it and just do it, then you literally won't be holding yourself back anymore. Like, it's like, oh my God, what was I going to say? Hold on. My thought left me.
It's all good.
Oh my gosh. Wait, I have it. I need to come back with it.
And it kind of sounds like woo, like a lot of people think it's
Yeah.
woo, but it's like that methodology is like, it is so important. And it's so theoretical and like philosophical that people can't really wrap their head around it being like a scientific process. It's like, if you follow this process of like visualizing, like you said, defining that end goal, and hopefully this inspires you to remember your thought.
Yeah.
But if you visualize and define that end goal, that's going to be very revealing. Just that process of like putting your conscious on that end goal starts to reveal a path or a plan to get to it. And if you just execute on that path that you have conceptualized, because you haven't been down the path, so you can't be 100% accurate, like
Right.
what that path is. But you can typically, through that visualization, get between 70 and 80% of what it's going to take to accomplish that goal. And then it's just executing every single day on what you said you were going to do. And eventually you're going to encounter some of adversity along that path. And that's where that internal struggle comes. If you can just, no matter what adversity comes along that path, find or make the decision and the commitment that no matter what happens, I am going to internally find a solution to overcome that adversity. In my opinion, there is no outcome that you cannot achieve, because that adversity and that pain just ends up being the currency that you pay to learn that 10, 20% that is needed to get to that final outcome.
Right. And it's all about mindset too. It's a major shift in mindset of thinking like, if you think you already have that dream life and you start acting like it, then you truly will build the dream life from that. But if you're living in a mindset of like, "Oh, I'm broke," or "I don't have this and I don't have that," then you're gonna keep putting that out and that's what you're gonna keep getting. So it really is a major shift in the mindset of taking, who you want to be and where you want to be versus where you're at right now maybe, or like the negative thoughts that consume you. It's taking the positive and making sure that that's what's in the forefront of your mind. Like when you're facing all those hardships or trials and adversity, like you've got to be in there like, okay, this is just a little stepping stone to get to where I'm supposed to be. It's taking that negative and reinforcing it for good.
So unpack that a little bit. Like, if you are someone who's in a situation, your present state or your present reality is you're not getting the outcomes that you want and you're not living the life that you want, how do you reframe your mindset to be the person that you want to be?
Yeah. Well, I think the number one thing is just making sure you're not taking that situation that's happening to you and making it define you. Like your circumstance does not define you. I mean, I was literally 20 years old, completely alone having my child, like with no paternal support at all, and still have no paternal support. And I could have taken that and been like, oh, woe me, like poor me, I'm in this situation and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, I'm using that and I'm turning my life around. I mean, I literally moved to Charleston by myself and started the political job and then literally lost that job in January and just was like, oh my gosh, I could have been like, oh my God, I have to go home now. Like, I'm never going to be able to accomplish my dreams or like, what am I even doing with my life? It was like, no, okay, this is just a setback on the path of success of moving forward. So I just have to take that and step over it and keep on going instead of letting it hold me back or define me. So I stepped over it and was like, okay, I'm going to pursue all these different things and like make sure I can still live in Charleston. And I wasn't letting the setback hold me back. I was literally using the setback to propel me forward. And it only, you know, it just is like that drive it gives you because it's like, oh, I'm not going to let something that didn't work make me feel like a failure. It's no, I'm going to take that moment of, you know, not winning. I'm going to take that moment of losing and think of it as like it's literally just a step forward on the right direction because we have to take those moments and use them as like our propeller of moving forward and be like, okay, this is just a lesson for me. This isn't a failure, this isn't a setback. It's literally just a lesson of okay, how do I use this to continue on my dream life, or like what is this lesson that I have to take from this to actually be able to step forward? Because if you never faced adversities or trials, you would never really appreciate the doors that open for you. You would never really appreciate the good things that come. And when you actually reach the moment of feeling like you've succeeded, or you're like, wow, this is really what I've worked hard for, you worked hard for it and you really appreciate it because you've come a long way and you've overcome all of the setbacks and challenges in life instead of letting them consume you and define you as a person.
Yeah, it's very revealing to your character that you were able to approach a setback like, losing that job or something and not let it define you. And that is a testament to your success and why you're going to be more successful because it does all stem down to that internal mindset. Someone could have been dealt the exact same hand of cards. In that situation, let that define them and let that negative put them on a path that brings them back home or whatever and makes a step back. And it shows, it's just a testament that it all stems from that internal mindset and that internal belief system. It's the decision that you make on how you're going to perceive that reality in the moment that's going to define where you end up next. And if more people can understand and be more disciplined over that internal mindset, it really does. That is what gives you the power to control your reality. It all starts internal with that internal belief system. But sorry, I'm ranting. But right now, and this will kind of be the final questions that I have, but what do you see as the biggest challenge that you are encountering currently or you foresee encountering?
The biggest challenge I think with the nonprofit right now is just being able to make sure that I'm building an authentic brand and showing me and my story and how it I don't know, interwebs with the nonprofit of why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I want to actually help women instead of just being like for show. So I think building an authentic brand is number one. And then number two is just finding the right people to support me, because I have all of these connections and contacts and like in this network of people where I'm like, oh, they could easily help me. But I'm like, but is that really who I want to help me? Because what I'm building is something that needs to be safe, and it needs to be from pure heart and like good intention and good people. And if I have somebody who's like kind of corrupt trying to be a part of it, then it's going to corrupt the system. It's like who you surround yourself with is who you're going to be. So I want to make sure the nonprofit is built on a good, strong, solid foundation of like good people and just good intention in general, and not like for oneself. So I think that's the number two issue, is literally finding the financial support and the support from the right people is the number one thing.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone that would be listening to this that you've learned along your journey that you wish you knew before that you know now, what would it be?
Pressure makes diamonds, honestly. Like, your hardships are not going to make you a failure. They're literally just going to make you succeed. And I wish I knew that earlier, because I think for a long time I was like, "Ugh, I'm never going to amount to anything, honestly. Like, I've got all of these things going on that just like make me, I felt less of a person, or like that I was never going to be able to do anything with it." And I realized like once I shifted that mindset and used those hardships for success, then I realized like, okay, this pressure is only put on me because I am destined for something bigger and better. So if I would have known that, I think I would have like probably catapulted myself a little bit quicker. But I mean, I think everything happens for a reason. But I truly think the number one thing is that pressure makes diamonds.
It's great advice.
Hmm.
If people align with your mission and they want to learn more, they want to reach out to you for advice or anything like that, where can they find you?
My Instagram is syd.lauren, Loren, and the nonprofit's website is feartofaithformoms.com. So they can find out more about my story on my Instagram and on the website as well, and figure out how they can help, because there's a lot more ways to help than just financially.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah.